Hey guys, welcome back to Beyond the Box Score and I am your host Hayat. Today we're locking in on two college basketball matchups for February 24th, and these are the kind of spots that can make or break your night if you're not paying attention to context. We've got Tennessee walking into a straight-up sandwich spot laying about 5 according to Ken Pom, and we've got St. Louis bringing the number 1 three-point offense in the whole country at 41.4% into a matchup against a defense ranked 316th in three-point defense. That's not surface-level stuff, that's situational pressure meeting statistical mismatch. So I'm going to break this down exactly how I do on camera, thinking out loud, working through the 40% road cover rate, the 14-2 home record, the 9.5 from the first meeting, the 102-71 blowout, the 31-point margin, the 59.6% from two-point range, all of it. This is pure analysis and opinion, no guarantees, no promises, just how I see February 24th setting up if these matchups unfold the way the numbers and spots suggest. Alright, let's connect the dots. Alright, let's get into this slate. Tennessee at Missouri, the lean here is Missouri plus the points. Let me walk through why. So we're looking at Tuesday, February 24th, and Tennessee should be about 5-point favorites according to Ken Pom. And that number matters because if they're about 5-point favorites, that means they're expected to go on the road and not just win, but win with margin. And that's where I start getting uncomfortable. Tennessee been a bad team to bet on as favorite on the road this year, they've covered 40% of the time. 40%. That's not a small sample trend you just brush off. If this matchup plays out like it has for them all season in this role, they win but don't separate, and if they don't separate, Missouri getting the points becomes live all night. And Tennessee is a ranked team, which adds another layer here, because ranked team on the road needing margin is always tricky. I think they're a little overrated, and now you stack in the situational spot. They just played a grueling game over the weekend against Vanderbilt, and then they've got Alabama coming up after this one. That's the definition of a sandwich spot. Vanderbilt before, Alabama after, and now you've got to go on the road into a hostile building and win by about 5. That's a terrible spot. It's a difficult spot. One path I see here is Tennessee mentally peeking ahead to Alabama, especially late in the game, especially if they build a small lead. Could they fall asleep here? Yeah, they could fall asleep here. Now flip it. Missouri 14-2 straight up at home this year. 14-2. That's not fake. Missouri been awesome at home, very quietly had a very good season at home, and sometimes those are the teams I like backing because the market doesn't fully adjust. They've covered all 4 of their last head-to-head games against Tennessee coming into this one. All 4. So this program matches up well to Volunteers. That's not random. 4-1 their last 5 against the spread, and they're playing good basketball right now. So if this matchup plays out like Missouri's home form suggests, Tennessee is in a real fight. What connects for me is Tennessee only covering 40% of the time as favorite on the road, layered on top of the sandwich spot, layered on top of Missouri being 14-2 straight up at home, layered on top of covering all 4 of the last head-to-head games. If Tennessee wins by 2, 3, 4, Missouri plus the points cashes. If Missouri controls pace and makes this uncomfortable late, Missouri plus the points cashes. I don't need Missouri to win outright, I just need them to stay inside that about 5 number. So yeah, the lean sticks at Missouri plus the points. Now let's shift gears. St. Louis at Dayton, the lean here is St. Louis lay the points. Let me walk through why. We saw these teams meet on January 30th, 2026 at St. Louis. St. Louis was laying 9.5 points in that game, and they didn't just cover 9.5, they destroyed Dayton 102-71. That's a 31-point win, 102-71. So if this matchup plays out anything close to that offensive rhythm, Dayton is in serious trouble again. Now I know the angle. Revenge spot for Dayton. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They've looked good over the last week or so. Even with having a little bit of a down year, I still think they're one of the better teams in the A10. So part of me wants to grab Dayton in the revenge spot. But then I look at the matchup numbers, and this is where it flips for me. St. Louis is shooting 41.4% from three-point line. 41.4%. That's number 1 in the whole country. Number 1. And from 2-point range they're shooting 59.6%, which is top 15 in the country. So their offense has been absolutely elite. Elite. Now what does Dayton struggle with? Allowing threes. According to Ken Palm, they're 316th in the country in three-point defense, 316th. So if this matchup plays out like the numbers say, St. Louis getting clean looks against a 316th ranked three-point defense, that's a recipe for runs. And we saw it last game against VCU. They were down early, it looked shaky, maybe VCU could even pull the outright win. Then St. Louis got hot and they won by 13. Even with a bad start. That's what they do. They go on big runs. So one path I see here is Dayton keeping it tight early because they're at home in Dayton, Ohio, maybe feeding off the crowd, but the second St. Louis hits 2 or 3 threes in a row at 41.4%, that game can tilt fast. If Dayton was better than 316th in the country in three-point defense, maybe I'd talk myself into revenge. But when you're 316th in the country in three-point defense and you're facing the team shooting 41.4% from three-point line, number 1 in the whole country, and 59.6% from two-point range, top 15 in the country, that's a math problem. That's not just emotion. And I don't think it's another 31-point win like 102-71, but I think there are stretches where St. Louis's offense is too much. So yeah, even though I respect the 3-game winning streak, even though I understand the revenge spot, if this matchup plays out like the statistical profile says it should, St. Louis's offense may be too much. I'm taking St. Louis. Lay the points. And that's why the lean sticks at St. Louis lay the points. Alright, that wraps it up. Our video is little busy so can make more analysis on February 24th. As always, this was analysis and opinion only, nothing guaranteed, just me working through how Tennessee in a sandwich spot and St. Louis in a major shooting mismatch could realistically play out if the situations line up the way they look on paper. I'm curious how you're seeing these games. Are you riding with Missouri plus the points at home? Or are you laying it with St. Louis after that 102-71, 31-point win earlier this season? Drop AZ in the comments and tell me which side you're on. More breakdowns coming soon, same raw format, same deep dives, same thinking it through together energy. I'll see you in the next one.